How's it going, everybody? We got some more magic for you today with a Boros Token Control deck. This is one of the strongest decks that I've been playing recently. You've got a lot of the staples for Boros that you would imagine using in this type of deck. Caretaker's Talent as a 4 of. We got some Carrot Cakes. Got pretty much the strongest removal package right now that I could imagine. We've got Torch the Tower, which is fantastic against mono red and anything that has quick creatures. Things like, you obviously have mono red where you want to get rid of things like Cacophony Scamp without them being killed but exiled instead, so it's really good for that. But it's also really good if you're playing up against mono black skeletons or things along those lines, and they're using like the miner that can come back when they commit a crime, things like that. There is Lightning Helix, which is great too. Deals 3 damage to any target, plus heals you 3 life, which is great. Get Lost, which is super strong. I don't love that it creates map tokens for the owner of the target, but it can get rid of creature, enchantment, or planeswalker, so it is beyond phenomenal. It can get rid of pretty much everything but artifacts. We've got Carrot Cake, generates little tokens and can heal you when you pop it, which is really nice. Urbrask's Forge, which is already really good for the fact that it perpetually activates Caretaker's Talent, but we also have Dollmaker's Shop in this version, so with Dollmaker's Shop, you need to attack every turn with a non-toy creature if you want to be able to create that 1/1 toy, and Urbrask's Forge will create a creature for you every single turn that can do that, that is not susceptible to removal except on the turn that it comes out. And it has to be something that can get rid of it, often not working with cut down and things like that unless it's very early, and board wipes, things like that won't work on it unless they can get rid of the actual Forge itself, which is an artifact which most people can't play around, especially since Get Lost cannot get rid of the Urbrask's Forge. We've got Sunfall, also really fantastic, exiles all creatures on the board. Doesn't really affect our Forge. Could hit our other tokens and stuff, but that's not really a big deal since we can rebuild those very easily. Also creates a token for us, so even just playing it hits the Caretaker's Talent and draws us some cards. We've got Archangel Elspeth, which creates tokens, draws us cards. If you need to, you can -6 it to get back pretty much everything. Say people are actually getting rid of your Urbrask's Forge, your Caretaker's Challenge. When you get to -6 this, they come back to the battlefield along with any Carrot Cakes that you may have had, because all of those are 3 or less permanents in this deck. We do have a couple of Virtue of Loyalty. Much like my Orzhov Token Control deck, I don't think it's the strongest thing in this deck. You're ideally going to be able to make your creatures bigger with the level 3 of Caretaker's Talent or unlocking Porcelain Gallery, but this absolutely can be something to build you up some strength, help build you out in the early game. That way you can stabilize to get your other pumps off. We've got Overlord of the Mistmoors, just like in my Orzhov Token Control deck. This card is fantastic, being able to impend it and get those 2/2/1 flyers. Playing it out on the field, you get a 6/6 as well, and anytime it enters or attacks, you get those flyers, so it is great for generating tokens. Pairs phenomenally well with Porcelain Gallery, since it has the ability to create those on attacks. Can basically generate 3 creature tokens for you on attack if you already have Porcelain Gallery up, pumping everything that much more. We've also got the Eternal Wanderer. I'm only running it as a 1 of. You can create 2/2 Double Strike Samurais, which is great. It has removal options by being able to exile target artifact or creature, so it allows us to remove something like an Urbrask's Forge, albeit temporarily, or any creature that we see on the field, and if it's a token creature that we hit, it's just gone for good. But it also has a -4 ability, which is a board wipe, that allows you to choose one of your creatures and one of your opponent's creatures, and every other creature dies. So, really good. Not the best to pair with Porcelain Gallery, because you'll basically turn it into a 1/1 creature, whatever you have, but if you really need to get stuff off the board, it can help with that if you don't have a Sunfall. For my sideboard, because I have been playing this primarily as a best of 3 deck, We've got High Noon for aggressive decks to shut them down 1 card per turn being played. Rest in Peace for graveyard-focused decks to make sure all graveyards are immediately exiled and stay exiled unless it can be removed. Pyroclasm for matchups where we need early board wipes. In this case, you could use it potentially against like a mono red or something that's going really wide, though that's not common. I think the most use for them really comes in decks that are playing a lot of 1 toughness flyers, things like Deep Cavern Bat. I've seen a lot of Dimir decks that are doing like Deep Cavern Bat. The Mentor, that's like a 2/1 flyer that draws cards whenever your opponent draws a card. Different stuff like that. So it's been really useful for those matchups. We've got Beza if you're in a matchup, say you're up against like mono red or something, and you need extra life gain. You can swap out some of these Overlord of the Mistborns for a couple of Bezas to help you gain life if necessary. And a Braid is really good, obviously, if you just need more removal than what's already in the deck, but also just if you have artifacts you need to kill. So this is really good against Azorius artifact decks or mirror matches where you have Urbrask's Forge you need to permanently get rid of instead of just bouncing. So, land is nothing too crazy. Elegant Parlor for Scry. Not very many mountains, but we don't run a lot of cards that really need the red. It's not a mono white deck, but we've got basically splash red for these guys right here. Obviously, multicolor lands. Only 1 Restless Bivouac. It can be relevant, but having an extra tap land when we already have the Elegant Parlors can be annoying. 1 Mirrex for token generation. 2 Fountain Ports so that we can play around with sacking tokens, creating tokens, those sorts of things. Very, very good card. Could potentially run more of these, but we really want our colored lands. Torch the Tower. Like I said, it's fantastic up against those mono red matchups. You could do something along the lines of Elspeth's Smite or something along those lines, but I really feel like Torch the Tower gets you there, and you have plenty of token fodder to sacrifice to bargain for it. So I really feel like this is pretty much the strongest removal package you can get right now. I guess my biggest complaint is that you are limited in the amount of damage that you can deal with Lightning Helix and Torch the Tower. However, Get Lost really deals with the rest, as well does Sunfall. So, kind of makes up for it. Anyway, I'll go ahead and start getting into some matches. Hope you guys enjoy this, because this is a very strong, very fun deck. Alright. Looks like a perfectly acceptable hand. It's unfortunate our opponent's going first, but we'll probably just start off with the Restless Bivouac anyway. Looks like they're also playing what'll be a tap land, just based on the fact that it is a Fabled Passage. There's a chance this is Golgari, but yeah, it looks like it's more likely to be Domain. I was going to start off with an early Dollmaker shop in case we draw a Urbrask's Forge, which we just did, so I think I will go that route instead of going for Carrot Cake. Because now we'll be able to do Urbrask's Forge next turn, and then maybe Caretaker's Talent on the turn after that if we can draw another land. Which we did, so go ahead and go Forge here. Attack in, and that'll get us a Doll. So having that set up is going to be really nice, and then getting the Caretaker's Talent out will be great. We'll probably go ahead and copy the Urbrask Forge token, even though it'll just be a 2/1. Looks like it could be extremely relevant for this deck to be graveyard focused. So this would be one of those times it would be nice to have what's it called? The Rest in Peace, but they're sideboard and this is not best of 3, so we'll just have to go with what we can. Having a second creature per turn that still enables our Dollmaker shop is pretty relevant. we will be able to get either Archangel Elspeth or our Overlord of the Mistmoors out on this turn. Oh, looks like our opponent went ahead and gave up, which seems fair to me. We're not going to be slowing down at all. Even if he managed to deal with our current board, we were going to be getting an Urbrask's Forge token every turn, which would attack in. Even if he managed to get like this Portal of Phyrexia out, we were going to continue making Dollmaker's Shop tokens, continue playing land to be able to get Porcelain Gallery flipped, had Overlord of the Mistmoors for more tokens, Archangel Elspeth for more tokens. It was not looking good for our opponent. We could have even gone ahead and done our level 3 of Caretaker's talent right now to pump everything that we have, attack with all of it, and then, like I said, keep prolonging until we get to our Porcelain Gallery, which may have even been a better play than going with one of these at the moment. But anyway, first game, easy win. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We got at least 2 more that I'll be recording. Maybe I'll throw in some losses if I get any, but game 1 was pretty easy. This looks okay. I think I'll keep it and risk trying to get to the Forge. Really do hope we draw either a red or at least one more land so that we have the red open later for the Forge. Okay, so there's the red land. I'm feeling much better. More land, but I think I'll still take it. Looks like this is obviously just going to be Rakdos Lizards. Getting to a Sunfall here is probably going to matter. So we may struggle with getting set up on this one. Give me balloon, little friend. I think that was a bad attack, unless he can give that indestructible with like a Scales of Shale. Which he didn't, but yeah, I think that was a really poor choice. Maybe he has another one to play or something, but there was no reason to just throw that away, in my opinion. Alright, so here we're going to run into some trouble. I am going to get this out just so that I have a creature to block with. But we're really looking for a Sunfall now, more than anything. This is the type of matchup where having those Pyroclasms in the sideboard is really nice. Unfortunately, like I said, this is best of 1. I do recommend playing best of 3 because that's what I prefer to do as well, but doing best of 1 just for showing off the deck up against a variety of different types of decks more quickly. But this is definitely a matchup where Pyroclasm would come into play. So we will not block the Hired Claw because we wouldn't get any value out of it. He could just make it bigger. We'll go ahead and get rid of the Geckos. In this case, unfortunately, I think our best case scenario is going to be to pop this, gain a little bit of life back. Eternal Wanderer is good, but not useful for us right now. Probably going to just get lost the Gev. Lightning Helix would be pretty helpful here. Beza would be helpful if we could get it in from the sideboard, but as I said, this is best of one. Fortunately, our opponent got no use out of those, except for drawing land. I'm going to be taking 3 here. Or 2. Even better, actually. Torch the Tower is not nothing. So based on that, I think we're going to go here. Getting a land's really nice. Now we can do this. So now, whether it kills the Hired Claw or not, we do have a blocker for it, which matters. Helps us maintain our life a little bit longer. Deep Cavern Bat's not a bad draw. Unfortunately, we do need to block the Hired Claw, so we'll still be taking 1. Would still really love a Sunfall, especially now that it would be playable. Elspeth's probably relevant and gets us a lifelinker. We're really low, though. I think that's got to be the play. Because if he just attacks with the bat, well, he'll have a land to play, so we're probably just dead here, to be totally honest. Okay, that helps, actually. Gotta get rid of this. Oh, but if I do that... Okay, so I think there's really nothing we can do but die here, really. Because no matter what he does, we're gonna be taking 1 damage on the next turn and dying. Yeah, it's really sad. Even with our blockers that we have now and the ability to gain life, as soon as he attacks with that Hired Claw, we die. So this was a very, very close match. Yep, that still counts too. But he also, like I said, he could have just attacked with the Hired Claw and won that way. Looks like a pretty acceptable opening. Probably go with Elegant Parlor first for the Scry. I don't really need another talent, but it could be relevant. I'll keep it. In this case, I will just toss my talent to draw the new one. In this case, I'm going to go with... Nope, not Get Lost. I'm sorry, I thought that was a Carrot Cake. Let's go ahead then. Get this set up in case we get a Forge. Cheza. So this is likely to be a Grixis Crimes deck, which is weird to see. They're not common. We could double block now if it becomes relevant, but we probably won't. Yeah, even if I want to, it's really not helpful to. That's interesting to see. Means this is most likely actually a Legends deck, which does make sense also. Let's go ahead and go this way. Now we get rid of the Marchesa, have blockers, and are going to be getting more tokens. A couple more land and we can open up a Porcelain Gallery. They used a get or a go for the throat on one of our non-toy tokens, so we're going to want to try and copy the moth. Is that what this is? Insect? Basically a moth. We're going to want to copy the moth with a caretaker, probably. Because we don't have the land to go with Eternal Wanderer, otherwise that would be pretty viable. Because then we could just keep blinking this. I think it's probably still worth attacking, because we're going to be getting 2 more tokens. And we do have the land next turn to go Porcelain Gallery, so even though he's gaining life, I think it's worth it. I would be somewhat disappointed if our moth dies now. I don't think he should attack with the Aclazotz, personally. He may, but I don't think it's a good choice to tap it. But he does. So they're all 7/7s now? Yeah, I told you it was really a poor choice to attack with the Aclazotz there. He actually had a chance, if he had held it back, at least to survive for another turn. That doesn't necessarily mean that he would win, but it would have given him 2 blockers and life gain off one of the blocks. Anyway, yeah, this was a really good showcase of why the Dollmaker shop is so good in this deck. It drew us plenty of cards, we had plenty of attacks, and as long as we had this one insect token left, it was all going to work out fine. That's also why I went ahead with the attack that I might not have should have, with the other moth token, losing it. It's because I had one backup, and I knew us opening up that Porcelain Gallery would pretty much be good game, so... really good match here to showcase the Porcelain Gallery in this deck. Opponent goes first, which is unfortunate, but we do have Dollmaker Shop into Urbrask, which is pretty nice. Of course, we need a non-tap land to be able to do it. Which, there it is, so that's actually pretty nice. Now we just have to hope they don't hold up a counter spell or kill the Forge or Dollmaker Shop right away, which doesn't look like they will be. They are going to be playing a reanimation style deck, though. So, another great reason why we have that stuff in sideboard. Best of 1 just is not fun to play in general right now. I'm only doing it for these videos to showcase the decks. I don't recommend it. Best of 3 is just so much better because you can just sideboard stuff specifically for your opponents. If we get another untapped land here, I'll probably go Caretaker's Talent. Even if we don't, I'll probably play Caretaker's Talent because it'll just be helpful. Already have Atraxa, so I'm going to have to play Get Lost, unfortunately. And they're probably just going to keep replaying Atraxa from the graveyard, so I'm going to run out of gas quickly. Something I can do, actually, excuse me, is I can torch the tower the Atraxa before I use Get Lost on it to exile it, which I think is going to have to be what I go with here. Now, the opponent wants to mill me. They've got plenty of outlets to do so, so I know it's something that they're trying for. Which is unfortunate, because I'd like to actually play a real match. And it's just hard to do that. I wouldn't mind just getting land off the top here. It may be our best chance if we can get these doll makers going. One more land, if it's an untapped land, will give us the opportunity to use our Porcelain Gallery, which could possibly win this for us, but I don't think it's possible. He's just going to go Jason mill us, because there's no reason for him not to.
I've already written this. You won't stop us.
Looks like pretty decent. I'll go ahead and keep it. So far we have racked up some losses. Unfortunately, it's all stuff that could have been very easily avoided had we been playing best of 3 instead of best of 1. So I really can't advocate enough against best of 1 right now. It's just not fun. I'm okay with taking a bivouac here. Very likely they could have something to kill the doll maker shop. Looks like no, and this may be... Well, I would say it could be Domain, but there's no reason for Domain to use a dual land that isn't a scry land. So I'm not sure what I'm up against here, honestly. I think, honestly, we are going to go ahead and get lost this, just to get it out of the way as a blocker. Because we want to keep making our dolls. And then at the end of the turn, or at the end of the opponent's turn, we'll go ahead and use Carrot Cake. We're looking good. One untapped land, or tapped land, away from being able to get our Porcelain Gallery going. I don't think we need another Mistmoors. Let's go ahead and go here. And we'll impend our Overlord. So now we've got backups in case he tries to get rid of our one rabbit token now. One land is all we need to just win here. Cone is annoying, because now he could get something really big, but I still think we're okay if we can just get something to allow us to open up this porcelain gallery, which we didn't. However, I think I will go ahead and go here for now. It's only relevant to do that when this is on 1, but I didn't look at what its counter was on, so I went ahead and did it. Still really just looking for one land here, but the opponent went ahead and scooped. I don't think there was anything they could have done that really would have saved them. The most annoying that they thing that they could have done is if they had brought out the Vaultborn Tyrant, because it would have started gaining them life. But even then, just one land, getting this Porcelain Gallery open, these would have been massive. And while I'm waiting for that one land, I can just keep, you know, attacking with these, generating more tokens, getting them bigger and bigger. So the opponent was going to really struggle to get out from behind this here. But it's finally the last win that I needed. I may include a loss or two in this video, but like I said, all the losses easily could have been mitigated by playing best of 3 rather than best of 1, because our sideboard answered every single deck that we went up against. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a very fun deck, a very good deck. You can see how Porcelain Gallery really gets to make use of this, or gets used well in this deck, even better so, in fact, than in the Orzhov that I showed. And a lot of that comes down to the Urbrask's Forge. I didn't get it in this match, but the Urbrask's Forge is a great enabler for this Porcelain Gallery and Dollmaker's Shop. But anyway, that's it. Thank you all for joining me.